And now the next session brings an in-depth discussion on payments with a diverse group of experts, distinguished guests. Ozan Deniz from Interbank Card Center, BKM, Semih Muşabak from SİPAY, and Nihat Narim from Belbim are receiving questions from the moderator Gencay Karaman of Finance Office of Presidency of the Republic of Turkey. Please welcome our panelists and our moderator. With a big applause, of course. Thank you so much. Hoş geldiniz.
Merhabalar.
Merhaba, buyurunuz.
Merhabalar, nasılsınız?
Merhaba Ergen, merhaba.
Merhaba.
Merhaba, hoş geldiniz. Buyurun.
The floor is yours. Distinguished members of the Fintech environment, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to greet you all with respect with this very valuable event. We are very happy to be a part of this ecosystem. Let me briefly introduce myself. After 17 years in the public industry, public sector, I am working at the finance office of the Presidency of the Republic of Turkey. We're going to talk about the next decade of the payments vertical with our valuable speakers on the stage right now. So, to introduce themselves, I'd like to pass the floor to our panelists. Ozan Deniz, would you like to start? Hello, everybody. My name is Ozan Deniz. I'm the CEO of the Interbank Card Center. I've just started my position, actually. It was just about 6 weeks ago when I started. Before that, I worked in the Central Bank of Turkey for 17 years. I come from a technical background, and I worked in various positions in the Central Bank of the country to help develop new positions as well within the bank. Especially, I've been involved in payment systems, and the one project that I'm very proud of is the project that we launched in 2013, and I worked as a software developer at the time, but the fast instant payment system was launched under my chairmanship. As you know, the central bank is involved in the Interbank Card Center as well. Now, Semih Bey, you're next. I am the CEO of SİPAY. We started our businesses several years ago. We obtained our license to operate, and we operate in various areas, especially with POS devices and banks. And we work with the Interbank Center very closely with our card systems. My name is Ceyda Ünal from Belbim. I am responsible for marketing and business development. And as you know, Istanbul card, the transport card of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, develops these cards through Belbim's infrastructure. And I'm representing our chairman today. I'd like to pass to our questions. Ozan, my first question is to you. As you know, international work is on the way. International developments are on the way, but then we have great leaps forward in terms of developing locally. In terms of local payment systems development, we have very strong advancements as well, and we know that the Interbank Card Center is playing a major role. We're talking about local companies going abroad, but then local actors producing locally has been relevant since the pandemic. And then we have another pillar in this developing area. The national card scheme is launched in our country. In order to promote the use of local card, you must be pursuing strategic activities, we would like to know more about that. Of course. Interbank Card Center started several decades ago. In the payments ecosystem, we are playing a very major role in our country. Of course, the foundation purpose was card payments, redirection, and exchange. But of course, our roles expanded over time. Right now, in retail payments, we have turned into a very important infrastructure provider. We play very critical roles in this area, and very important activities have been run. I'm someone that has been personally involved in these processes. At the time, here is how we saw Interbank Card Center. In the central bank, we know how to very well develop traditional payment systems. But then Interbank Card Center, at the edge of payments, had very precious products, BKM Express, for example, and we had a lot of experience in adding more value to what we did. So we wanted to come up with something. The central bank would develop the core system deployed by the central bank, and then open banking systems would be involved with the Interbank Card Center. And it turned into a massive success. As you know, open banking transition is serving right now, and we've reached about 10 million API calls per day. And we also have value-added services on the mobile side. So, for example, easy address and domestic QR code payments. We also have flows, QR code flows built on FAST system. 2 months ago, we launched other services as well. So these are value-added services that help develop the retail side in the cards environment. But like you've said, globally speaking, we see a trend in which these activities are converged. Along with the central bank, here's what we do. We start domestic expansion, and we go local, regional, and then later international. On the card business, as you know, we have Troy, our local card scheme. We pay a lot of attention to it. We work day and night on developing it further, and we have our colleagues that really work a lot on that. Our market share is not too bad. We're about 12% right now. What does that mean? 12 TL out of every 100 TL spent in the economy is through Troy. So the top management of Central Bank and the Ministry of Finance have supported the local card scheme a lot, and especially they're monitoring the developments, they're supporting, and we have our action plans, and we want to increase our market share even further. And that's a trend you see everywhere else in the world. You look at all these countries and you have local card schemes, and they have an increasing share of domestic card schemes, and then they start to go international and be recognized internationally. So we have very national instincts as we do our work. So Indian Prime Minister, for instance, says, well, we can't go and ask everyone to go stand sentinel at the borders, but everyone can own locally made cards. So at the technology level as well, we have turned our activities cutting edge. And I have been, along with my colleagues, working on making sure that this card is enjoyable by customers. At the presidency of the Republic of Turkey, we have been working in this area. And soon we're going to announce the results of our work. We have a vendor document that we'll launch. So we have 9 strategic purposes. And one of these purposes is to make sure that these payment systems are localized. We have action plans underneath this strategy. So when this vendor document is announced, we believe that similar activities will be even more intensely pursued. Now I would like to move on with other guests. When we look at what's happening in the next decade? What kind of technological advancements will affect highest the verticals of payments systems? What kind of transformation will we see in relevant companies, and the way we do business, will that change as well? As you know, 10 years is very long, but actually it's really not possible for us to predict the next 10 years because we have started talking about AI 5 years ago. We could not even imagine how far it would have come, and the same is true for the blockchain as well. Maybe I can talk about the next 3 years rather than a decade. We at Simpay have been focusing on certain technologies, and we have also certain expectations around what will happen in the world. Firstly, AI. Different panel discussions focused on the same topic. So we talked about data 5 years ago. We said, oh, it's very critical. We need to collect data, but we didn't know what to do with data. But along with AI, now we have revealed the importance of data. But what do we do in the payment system with data? So firstly, we're more secure. We identify fraud faster, for example, because you no longer need any manual intervention to prevent fraud, and we already have lots of advancements in that way. So AI is critical when it comes to security. Secondly, hyper-customization has become a part of our lives because what the age requires us is that unnecessary redirection, unnecessary ads make you lose customers. That's why you need to come up with the right redirection activities and the right ads for customers, no matter what industry you're working in. So data analysis, and with AI, we are going to orient our customers in the right direction. Third, blockchain structures. So we're talking about a world in which we have transparent transactions and we take action immediately. Both companies and individual users will see their needs catered to in so many areas in terms of data protection, for example. In the next 3 to 4 years, we'll see even more examples of the kind. And lastly, virtual reality. Our life is not what it used to be, so we don't really see ourselves in the future going to a store brick and mortar. You have a VR goggle, and then you go to that store through that goggle and buy the product that you want to. So in the next 5 years, I think these topics will be discussed intensely, and those that develop and contribute with value-added elements to these areas will make a difference, including payment companies. We have a Fintech report at our presidency. And when we look at Fintech companies that are actively operating in Turkey, we have 834 Fintech companies in the country. And payment systems, payments verticals, has the largest share, and that is followed by banking technologies, and then cryptocurrencies and blockchain follow in the third line. So Jada, along with technological advancements, what kind of changes do you envision in the way you do your work, both at Balbim and in the industry? I'd like to join my answer with the previous question. So we talked about the trends very well in the payments systems industry, but I'm going to talk about specifically what we're doing at Balbim. Obviously, with every term in office, we have 5-year plans. So in the first 5 years, was our primary aim was to make sure that we digitized, and we wanted to turn the Istanbul transport card into something that could be used for other payments. Right now, Istanbul card is not only used in transportation, it is used outside of transportation as well. And in terms of digitization, I can say the following. I listened to bank people in the morning as well, and they're talking about their digital journey. Obviously, we do not have a track record of trajectory of similar scale because we have a different structure to begin with. But when we look at what we have done in the last 5 years and the number of customers that we have served so far, we have more than 8 million transactions per day. And we have more than 4 million digital users, and these are massive volumes, actually. It could these numbers could almost compete with banks. And in the next 5 years, on the mobile side, we want to leverage our development. Of course, as a municipal office, we are trying to think of how better we can serve residents of Istanbul. Maybe we'll go even further than Istanbul and generalize an Istanbul card mobile app across the countries. And we're wondering what services that could involve. We enabled recently money transfer. We also have B2B. So 2 users that both have Istanbul card app can send money to each other. And then they can use IBAN numbers for money transfers. And along with the Interbank Card Center and the central bank systems that are already introduced, we are onboarding them in our systems. And based on all of these foundations, we are coming up with another advantage. We have a chance to get to know our user base very well. And there are also unbanked customers that we can get in touch with. There are lots of people that are not a part of the banking system, especially at a time when the economy is not doing well at all. We are thinking of introducing plans and projects that help their lives. And it's always through our transport card. But of course, our main job is to enable payments in public transportation. And public transportation has categories. Like, for example, with wearable technologies, you can make things easier and more practical. Biometric payments might be in the pipeline. And then maybe payment systems with other cities can be integrated into ours. And all of these areas are places where we really put our mind to, and we have plans that are underway. We are focused on serving Istanbul residents better, making sure their life is better and easier, both in their daily lives in public transportation, but also we want to make their lives easier elsewhere. And I'd like to underscore one more thing. Obviously, Istanbul Card serves rather in B2C, but we also served tradespeople. And we also wanted to make sure that they were involved. Istanbul Card holders have been able to use their cards in small shops as well. And we will see more of that in the upcoming term. My personal thought is that in the upcoming term, blockchain and AI will be even further involved in your work. And I believe that with the technology developments, we'll have B2Bs first, and then we'll see B2Cs. That will come with certain challenges or opportunities. I'd like to hear what you think on this. So, payment systems are evolving fast. In terms of crypto assets, and with developing blockchain technologies, what kind of opportunities do you see in companies? What kind of challenges do you see? And how do you utilize those opportunities or face those challenges? Jada, maybe we can start with you first. Obviously, as a money company, we are regulated under the central bank. Obviously, we're following up with the trends in blockchain as well, but regulatory blockages are also in front of us. And because we are also involved in municipal work, We are avoiding, to a certain level, high-risk activities, and we prioritize activities that could serve larger communities within a city. But we do follow up with the developments in blockchain, including, for example, ID verification and developing other types of infrastructure. Of course, blockchain is an area where our colleagues are working on, but in cryptocurrency assets, it's not a hot topic that we are really handling, but it's something that we're following up developments of. Obviously, when the central bank will have a digital currency, of course, it's going to be in our wallet. But like I've said, we are following the regulations on that side.
What about your thoughts? I will answer this question with my hat from the central bank, and I will exercise my business development muscles here. The efforts undertaken by authorities, we closely monitor them. And where we're trying to get at now is the convergence of different financial ecosystems. And maybe this is about your question as well, the destination. The destination we won't arrive there promptly, we will go there slowly. And this is about interoperability of different financial ecosystems. BIS, the head of BIS, released an article recently, and they used the analogy of internet. And internet brings together all of us and all our worlds, and financial ecosystems coming together will be called Finternet. Well, this is a very good article to read. I recommend everyone. And tokenization is also key, and this is another destination for us. Financial assets and real assets coming together and being represented digitally. And after that, in order for us to bring together financial ecosystems, unified ledgers are going to be needed, because this will involve the tokenization of securities and other assets as well, and this will help us move them to different ecosystems as well. And this is the vision we're trying to achieve. BIS has established many financial technology hubs. Different trials and tests are carried out there. Algora is one of the recent examples of that. So a commercial bank currency being tokenized, or state or sovereign bonds being tokenized as well can be another example. All assets being tokenized, and at one point them coming together on the same platform. But it's not going to be about one ledger doing everything. There will be different ledgers, but they will be able to speak with one another via APIs, and they will be digitally represented, and they can be easily exchanged and swapped. And we will be taking slow steps towards that, and Bitcoin technology will play a key role in that process. This is a technology that has been somehow curbed, and I'm a personal admirer of Bitcoin, like I'm an admirer of math. And in the first smart contract I wrote for Ethereum, I felt as if I had discovered the entire world, and it seemed to be the solution to everything. It's not, but it's a great catalyst to many things. And it is the catalyst of central banks' currencies. And this also helped us operate these currencies as well. And in the long term, they will be part of our lives. And as for tokenization, we will be working with these tools, and they will also play a huge role in us bringing together different ecosystems. I would like to turn back to you, Semih. You have a direct interaction with customers. And technology development and the challenges and opportunities that it brings, what would you like to say about that? Jada summed it up very well. there are things that we're able to use in technology, in technological aspects, but we can't really do them literally due to regulations. So I will be talking about two dimensions here. So technologically, you can optimize everything. If you're using an infrastructure, the infrastructure that you're using will store the data, and it is irreplaceable as well. So for us to obtain irreplaceable data, we take many optimization precautions. And with blockchain technology, we won't need such security measures. With that technology, this is going to be a system that everybody is able to access promptly. And when you look at its advantages and opportunities, we talked about the advantages of that on the side of blockchain, data protection, it being irreplaceable, it is being bound by contract, for example. These are all important. It minimizes the costs, and it also brings along significant benefits. Today, when you transfer funds to overseas, if you're using SWIFT, you will only need 2 days. When you use cryptocurrency and blockchain, this will be delivered to the recipient's account in seconds, so in an affordable way. But other disadvantages, there are disadvantages, security gaps, vulnerabilities we have. Although adoption is really high on the side of payments, the adoption, we're talking about a very narrow area. Even the card schemes, only 950 billion is the quantity, and 1 trillion will be attained. This is only about the individual users, but when you add the banks and financial institutions using that, the volume will be much higher. The disadvantages include us not knowing the reaction of this system in the face of such a heavy load of transactions. So this is one of the disadvantages. So regulations are not quite clear at the moment. Every country is trying to come up with its own regulation, but civil society has established a very well managed system and network. So governments and states must be communicating with one another. And I'm talking about the payment side of it. This is quite important, and it's not going to be attained overnight. And this can only be attained as technology evolves, and it's going to happen as we raise the bar for security as well. So although they seem to be disadvantages at the moment, we will be easily able to address that in the coming 3 to 4 years. Probably the use of cash will diminish significantly, but card systems or card-driven systems or the country currencies will be used less. So there will be a higher adoption on the side of cryptocurrencies. Thank you. Thank you very much. International terminology is adapted to Turkish, and we have published a glossary for that dictionary. Cryptocurrencies and crypto assets, you're using the same technology base, but smart contracts can be used there as well. I mean, we can diversify the examples of that, but especially for end users, people need to be aware, and people need to be made aware. And we are talking about blockchain right now, and there is a pace that we get thanks to the efforts and work that we carry out, and this also helps us guarantee transparency and technology development. They're great developments. This is why we see the positive dimension of it, but compliance and security are the downsides of it. So as we work with technology to address these issues, adjustment and alignment and regulatory work and security-related work, because we don't want customers to see any harm arising from that. And for the payments vertical, international funds transfers have gained prominence, and I want to turn to this, although it's a bit technical. So international cross-border funds transfers are important. Alternative technologies are being developed, and this is an opportunity and this is a cost advantage for end users. So payment providers and regulators, in order to address all these bottlenecks and complications, can work with their stakeholders and how they need to work. And do you really think the strategies should be for the companies? Ceyda and Semih will probably provide great contributions here because they have a corporate background. But I will speak from my own perspective. This has been a priority since G20 held in 2020, boosting the efficiency of cross-border transfers of funds. This is basically an assignment that we have been tasked with by different authorities. And at Central Bank, we have been following up all these activities quite closely, and we have established working groups for that. The 19 working blocks have been established there, from data security to message structure to ISO and interoperability to cyber attacks. These are all the different working blocks, and they are working on these areas. This is quite important, but no matter what the technology is, as for cross-border payments, at the moment where they are interlinked with one another, there will be some challenges. They do really exist. First, the messaging structures are different. Sometimes we are able to solve that. We have a regulatory arbitrage, and some areas that are needed and required in one country may not be required in another country, or sometimes they are carried out without necessary controls being performed. So necessary arbitrage is one thing. And as we are interlinking these payment providers, who will be providing the liquidity at what cost is also another question that needs to be taken up. Because balance holding and liquidity provision are among the challenges. They are standalone challenges, but international collaboration and partnership will be needed. In the short run, I will be focusing on the interlinking, and instantaneous payment systems will be interlinked. And BIS is carrying out studies of Singapore and Thailand being interlinked for instant payments. Nexus is another project scheduled for dissemination and rollout. And at Central Bank, a FAST will be disseminated in the region and across the world. Yes, we are trying to enhance the adoption, and the Interbank Card Center is playing an important role here. First, local adoption and interlink efforts will be launched very soon. For the mid to long term, CBDCs will be interlinked with one another, and this is one thing that BIS is doing already. And it all comes down to economies and financial ecosystems speaking with one another, being interlinked with one another. Apologies for taking some time of you. Semih, what about your strategies and approaches? Very, very briefly. Ozan was quite comprehensive already. Well, transfer is quite important. We need to go beyond cross borders. We're talking about overseas payments. We're talking about payments being made overseas, as we say, cross border here. So 80% or 90% is the ratios of SWIFT, and disadvantages were all arising from the SWIFT systems. And what we can change, this is what we do at our own company. And blockchain is the most critical one, and card schemes will also be part of funds transfers, and who will be providing liquidity, as Ozan said. Card schemes do that, and they will be able to do that with card schemes, and this will turn out to be an advantage. And at local levels, funds transfers, and that's all. And one thing I want to say, So Istanbul card with a scheme will be launched in June. Phase 1 will include its usage in Turkey and outside Turkey. And for second phase, we will enable international transfer of funds. And in the coming periods, we will deploy that as well. So international standards and their alignment with Turkish laws, this is important. And we will see more and more collaborations taking place. And this is something that we predict as well. I would like to thank everyone for their contributions, and I'd like to thank participants as well.